Okay, good morning and welcome everybody, guys. If you were with us yesterday in our Dollars for Lunch session, it was absolute power, and we are bringing the heat again today in a whole new way, and you definitely want to be a part of that. Guys, as always, my name is Dane van der Mast, and you guys are joining me in this beautiful Pounds for Breakfast session that we are in together this morning. Now, first and foremost, massive shout out to everybody that was part and parcel of yesterday's giveaways. We gave away around about 20,000 Rand towards credit in your live account. So we are going to be doing the same thing today. So if you want to be a part of that, you want to stand a chance to win, you want to stay tuned to everything that we are currently doing, because it is going to be massive. Now, really quickly and first and foremost, just a massive shout out to everybody that has joined us on our chats, guys. We look at these chats and we pay a lot of attention to. Just a massive shout out to Claude, Heavenly Defended, Keegan, Tanya, Rais, Melisi, Keegan, again, as always, Fortune Smith, Peter van Beek, Ruan, Tumelo, Mishak. You guys are absolutely amazing, and thank you for joining. As always, bringing the love within the chat. Now, we are going to do again another giveaway today, as always, but we're really going to be saving the heat. You want to pay attention to this for this afternoon, because we're going to be doing it big all over again. Now, guys, we are starting with a Pounds for Breakfast show this morning. Now, remember, if you were part and parcel of the last week's broadcast, we've been speaking about markets coming back into normality, and we're starting to see massive moves in the market. And this gets me super excited, because it shows us that we are in a position that we are moving closer and closer towards that state and season of normality that we can take advantage of the markets. But first and foremost, we're going to jump straight into the news and have a look at what is busy happening in the world right now. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Brilliant. So we're looking at the news this morning, and we're starting on a local front, and in essence, Eskom has a new board. So this is going to have an effect on, what decisions are taken. Are we going to see some cuts? And what are the changes that are going to happen? Because we've seen this happen time and time over again. But at the moment, the South African Rand cannot afford for additional pressure such as load shedding, such as rolling blackouts for business. It's just not sustainable. So we can only hope and pray this new board will bring some new changes, as we all are looking and hoping to see. So we're obviously going to pay a little bit more attention to this over the coming days as this matures and as this evolves. Now, yesterday was a massive day on the stock markets. Now, I spoke about it leading up to this week that, again, we need to see that dollar value drop so that we can start to see stock markets, indices rally, commodities rally. And guys, we are in for an absolute treat because I'm about to show you the charts. And if you aren't excited, if you aren't funded, you're not ready to get into this, you're about to miss out on one of the biggest T-junctions I feel that are going to happen in the market for the balance of this next quarter. This has set the tone for trading and what we're going to experience over the coming months. Now, again, we've spoken about recessionary times, right? These times of economic uncertainty for the rest of the world is faced with woes and faced with uncertainty. But if you're a trader and you're prepared and this opportunity comes and we bind these two together, guys, there's opportunity for massive potential in the market. So we are going to dive into that. But the whole world right now is literally just talking about, how the market's essentially bouncing back and, what is currently busy happening in the world, exactly as we've spoken over the coming weeks. Now, moving into the fundamental data this morning in terms of what we're looking out for this afternoon, first and foremost, very interesting, the Australian Reserve Bank, the Reserve Bank of Australia, has not gone for a full fat aggressive interest rate hike, right? They've gone for a pretty small 25.25% hike on that. And that is really going to be very interesting. We want to pay attention to the Australian dollar this week because they are starting the trend in essence, not having this immensely hawkish approach, this aggressive approach to this interest rate increase. So that's going to be very interesting to watch and see, how we transition based on that. Now, quickly having a look at the S&P 500 heat map for today, and we're quickly going to go ahead and refresh that. You'll see that everything is green across the board as we look at massive gains across the markets. Now, again, I'm going to show you why this happened. We called it out yesterday that we're looking for that weaker dollar. We got a little bit of weaker dollar data yesterday afternoon at 4, and that has forced the dollar index to come back into normality. And we may be ready for that next massive bull run on the markets, right? Dollar is about to fall in value, but in the markets, in terms of indices, in terms of Wall Street, that is where the big opportunities sit, as well as indices across the board. So I think without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into what is busy happening in the world and in the markets today. But first and foremost, I'm going to be extending another invitation for those of you who would like to stand a chance of winning another $250 credited to your live accounts. I want you to go ahead and share this live broadcast with somebody, with anybody, right? And I'm going to look at the screenshots. I want you to go ahead and share that and then inbox me a screenshot of you sharing this. And whoever shares the craziest amount, I'm not going to just pick the first person. I'm going to have a look at who's sending you the best screenshots. Ultimately, guys, what you need to understand is Globex 360 Live TV, as well as Globex 360 Traders Academy as a whole, in terms of what we're offering, is just unlike anything else. And it's free to every single one of our clients around the world. So go ahead and share the love. I'm going to be looking at my inboxes on Telegram. You'll see in the video link description below is my direct Telegram link. And what I would like you to do is go ahead and share that. I'm going to go have a look at who's doing the most, and we're going to give away $250. We're going to credit that as a non-withdrawable credit or bonus to your account, and you can utilize that in the season to make some amazing profits within the market. So I'm opening that invitation up. I'm going to check it in a second. We're going to start off with dollar analysis in terms of the dollar index, and then we're going to move into, having a look at who's done the most in terms of sharing, and then we're going to move into live trading a little bit later, starting at around about 9 o'clock this morning. So let's jump into it and let's get started. But first and foremost, let's have a look at what is busy happening on the analysis side from an FX perspective. Brilliant. So first and foremost, we're going to be having a look at the dollar index this morning. And again, as we discussed yesterday in quite a bit of detail, is we were looking at what is that potential for that negative fundamental data to actually start relating into some weakness on the dollar markets. And exactly as we discussed yesterday, we started to see that coming in, and we're really starting to see that come in over the start of the markets this morning, that dollar is really pushing towards that downside. Now, that is exactly what we were looking for in terms of those movements. And we're going to be seeing massive ripple effects across the board on the markets this morning. So this is massive and this is major, and we're going to see huge swings and huge moves as we dive a little bit deeper into this. Now, quickly, while we are busy looking at this, I'm quickly going to open up our screenshots here. Let's just see here. Okay, let's see. So Gawain has shared this with one group. Okay, that's brilliant. Fortune has shared it on his Instagram. That is brilliant stuff. Victor, let's see. I'm looking for something crazy. I'm looking for somebody who's just going above and or beyond. I'm not quite seeing it this morning. I'm seeing a lot of shares, but I really want to see someone who's just taking it to the next level, right? As Globex 360 TV, we bring you our absolute best. We want to see our absolute best from you. So let's quickly have a look here. So Peter Faree has gone and shared this directly on his Facebook. I absolutely love this, Peter, and I think we are going to be picking you this morning because you're going big, you're going bold, and you're sharing this on your personal page, which is absolutely amazing. You're showing the love. Peter Faree, please inbox me your MT4 number. You can send it to me directly on Telegram, and the team will go ahead and credit you with additional $250 directly towards your live account. So if you can send that through to me, I would appreciate, and we will then forward that onto the team to make sure that you are credited accordingly. Beautiful stuff, guys. So what we're going to be looking at this morning is quite a lot of opportunity across the board, because markets are in a position that we are about to take advantage of in a massive way. So moving into Euro USD this morning, and again, I spoke about this yesterday in terms of the potential that Euro USD had for a top side move. Now, I showed you guys what we could do potentially to scalp the price of Euro USD and what that would mean from a breakout perspective. And we can see we got that breakout, right? We spoke about yesterday, Euro USD punching through that 98 cents 40 pip mark. And ultimately, Euro USD has already rallied well over 30 pips from that breakout point. So if you caught that, in addition to this, maybe what we're going to do is we're going to do a second giveaway. Anybody who caught any of the trades we discussed yesterday, right? So a US30 breakout topside, a gold breakout topside, Euro USD long, a USD ZAR short. If any of the trades we discussed yesterday that materialized today that you caught, go ahead and send me a screenshot of that, and we'll look at what we can do just to share the love and help pump up and ensure your trading journey is just that much more profitable. So Euro USD, an absolute pusher towards the top side. Having a look at USD ZAR this morning, because again, that was one of the items we discussed yesterday. Looking at that dollar weakness, we saw yesterday, we got that punch through on that 78.6. We started to get these moves really starting to create momentum just after our live broadcast yesterday. So from about 4 o'clock, we started to break these resistance and support levels, ultimately creating that scallop formation that we were looking out for yesterday. So again, dollar weakness came in, USD ZAR started that sell-off process. And again, if you've caught that sell, absolutely amazing. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for those buy opportunities off a retest on that 61.8. Looking at that 17 Rand to the dollar USD ZAR conversion ratio is where I really am at. But if you guys caught this move already yesterday, massive well done. You should be in for quite a few pips already just on USD ZAR by itself. Now, really quickly, as we move into indices, I'm going to speak about indices first before we jump into commodities this morning, because again, there is a lot of opportunity in terms of what is currently happening in the markets. And again, markets are just in an amazing space and place to take advantage of. Now, I'm going to spend a little bit more time on US30, again, because we focused on it so heavily over the past couple of weeks. And again, there's just so much opportunity right here sitting on US30. Now, this again is going to apply for indices across the board. So you really want to be paying attention to this. But we're going to just do some quick live analysis because live trading is going to kick in very shortly. Ultimately, yesterday, we were looking at the potential of a US30 break towards the top side. We got an immediate short as we were looking at the markets yesterday. So in this region, we got that immediate short opportunity as markets started to break formation. But then ultimately we can see, looking closer to a 4-hour time frame, we then got that breakout top side and US30 ran. Now, where we are currently is going to be the deciding factor of where stock markets decide to run and potentially go over the coming months, right? Again, going back a little bit further, this is the 6-month low, the worst 6 months of any start of a new year in many, many years from a stock market perspective. And again, past data has shown us that when interest rates are raised, we then start to, in general, see the stock markets rally based on that. But we did not see that as interest rates were rallying and we started to see the stock market crashing over the first 6 months of this year. The anticipation was on past data that we could see that breakout towards the top side. That is really where we wanted to be. Now, looking a little bit closer this morning and just having a look at that RSI to try and give us any indication, are we going to hold value in this area, or do we potentially see some sort of pullback or sell-off on the markets? And we can start to see on the RSI, we're starting to get a bit of that weakness, right? We're getting divergence in terms of the RSI from a high, low perspective. We're making lower lows on the RSI. However, again, on the US30, we've made those higher highs. So we could very well be seeing a move towards the downside this morning. And again, that's just going to come down and retest that 29,700 level, right? 29,700 again, as I've said in previous broadcasts, that's my ideal level, right? Right there is where I'm looking for that US30 buy long side. So we're going to mark and indicate this one. We're going to be paying a little bit more attention to this move because ultimately I want to just see, do we get that short opportunity? And inversely, again, from a shorter trend perspective, do we get that buy opportunity? Should we get that little bit of a pullback into that value proposition zone of 29,700? Now remember, and please remember guys, this is going to be a monster swing trade, meaning we could very well be in the position where US30 gets back up into that $30,100 range. And then from there, it's anybody's guess, right? US30 traditionally, if we have a look from a weekly time perspective, we've always seen that US30 has recovered very, very quickly after pandemics, very, very quickly after recessionary times. And again, we have a potential here to move in the region of, 30, 40, 50,000 pips towards the top side. Now, even if you're making $1 per pip, we're still talking about $20,000, $30,000 in this movement. We're talking about a lot of money here, right? About R500,000 per position per trade, depending on what your risk management profile says and depending on how you manage and interpret that risk. Now, I'm just going to leave this here behind me, looking at US30, and I'm potentially just going to use the RSI this morning for a potential short, and we could very well get a pullback. But in this particular case, all I'm looking to do on US30 this morning is, grab a trade for a short as we potentially push down towards that 29,700 level. And I'm going to be taking a little bit of a bigger risk. I'm looking at about 300 pips. Again, we want that north side. We want that buy momentum. But I believe the value proposition, where the ultimate buy trajectory is going to be, is in that 29,700 range. So utilizing the RSI this morning, because we know we get that momentum, I'm going to go ahead and set up my trailing stop here while we are doing a quick talk and or giveaway. And I'm going to be setting it up for about 100 pips in terms of trading, which is about 1,000 points. And, should we get 1,000 points, then I'll move into a break-even scenario. And again, this is a small feeler trade as we look behind us and look at what is busy happening in the world and in the market. So let's quickly see. There we go. Peter Ferry has sent through his MT4 number. There we go. Let's send that through to the team on the other side, and they will then allocate towards your live account. Let's quickly get this going. There we go. All right, brilliant. Peter, thank you so much. That has been sent. All right, so we're getting Sammy with a screenshot there really quickly. I'm looking for somebody else who has submitted and gone in for that trade. There we go. I'm really liking this. I'm seeing Gaddafi, who has got a long trade in Euro USD and it looks like he caught that breakout really perfectly as we discussed in the session yesterday. Let's quickly have a look at this Euro USD breakout buy side. Gaddafi, I'm really liking that. I'm just going to look at who else is busy and on this. Dwayne has shown us a little bit of momentum here towards the top side. Dwayne, this is great. I just want to see an actual trade. So I want to see that analysis is great, looking at markets is great, but I want to see an actual trade. Let's quickly see their fortune. Caught the US30 sell from us yesterday. That is great. Ultimately, I'm looking for anybody who caught the market analysis in terms of those bigger moves, those buy moves, specifically US30, specifically gold. We are going to get into gold in a second. Let's quickly have a look here. Beautiful. Okay, so let's do it like this, right? Gaddafi, I just want to have and make sure. Gaddafi, won't you do me a favor and send me your MT4 number? You've just obviously shared that with me. And then let's see who else we want to see here. Nippo says that they bought gold on that breakout. Nippo, unfortunately, this does not look like a Globex 360 live account. So unfortunately, you do not qualify based on that. Gaddafi, please go ahead and send your MT4 number. We'll credit you with $250 credit towards your MT4 live account, provided you have at least $100 within that live account environment. We will go ahead and credit that for you this morning. Okay, beautiful. Let's have a look at what's busy happening here. In terms of the chat, guys, Keegan saying well done. Chamai saying positional gold for sell, please advise. You want to close them on loss. Okay, Chamo by Edwin, I don't know why you opened for sells. The clear indication was for a breakout for a buy side movement. Rapkiller saying done every media accounts, today is my day. Rapkiller, you do need to send that in as a screenshot to us directly so you can qualify and I can verify and we can move together. So Gaddafi, we're just waiting for your MT4 number. Let's go ahead and verify. I will send that through to the team and they will confirm whether you have that $100 in your live account. And if you do, we'll then add that $250 credit towards you right here, right now. Okay, so US30 is not going to make that fall. We are going to continue that buy side movement. And I think then what I'm going to do is I'm not going to linger on this one. I'm not going to wait for US30 to go to that value proposition. I'm really happy to go ahead and chase this trade towards the top side as we run on US30 and continue that movement. Now, we will require a bigger stop loss here because we are going to place our value proposition below that 29,700 mark. But I'm really happy to hold this one. And again, the next movements we see on US30 are going to be the deciding factors on where we move as a market as a whole, right? That's definitely going to be the deciding factor for us. So what I'm doing is I'm placing some order layering here and essentially placing some small feelers, and should we then make some profit and then do a pullback after the fact, we'll then lock that down and we'll let this one continue to run. But I think more interestingly, what we want to do this morning is we want to head into commodities, and I want to give you guys a quick look in terms of what is currently happening on gold, because it is an absolute machine. So yesterday morning, we discussed on gold that you could potentially grab a breakout trade. Again, looking at gold just being one of those commodities that we look as a feeler to look and gauge it. How normal is the market doing, right? We could see that yesterday markets started to recover on gold, but ultimately for that dollar weakness to fully transition into the market, we would need to see that north side break on gold. Now, I mapped this out yesterday for you guys and said, listen, if you want to then scalp and obviously take advantage of a breakout on gold, this would be the breaking point. The $1,672.76 is that value proposition for a buy opportunity. And if you caught that, you should be running well over 350 pips per position on gold. So listen, for those of you who did share your screenshots on that, massive well done. However, some of those screenshots that you were sharing were not Globex 360 live accounts, and I can see that, right? So make sure you get with it. If you've caught that trade, you want to be in the best possible environment with the best regulated, longest established broker in Southern Africa that is doing all of these things for you absolutely free just by having your live account. Now remember, this afternoon show is going to be emailed only to the clients that have live accounts. So if you want to be a part of this afternoon show, you want to be part of the New York Stock Exchange Open and continue to absolutely take advantage of the markets and dominate, then you want to make sure that live account is sorted out so you can participate and be with us in these broadcasts and in these shows. Now, quickly having a look at Brent this morning, as we're quickly going to cover it. Brent is the only instrument that we discussed that hasn't yet given us that clear breakout in terms of opportunity, right? For me, I said yesterday, the value proposition on Brent and what I'm looking for is I'm looking for that $93 breakout. Now, remember, Brent is obviously subjective to some external events. I think all markets at the moment are obviously subjective to, the Ukraine-Russia tensions at this point in time. But I think Brent is particularly sensitive in that particular manner. So we could see that Brent could be lagging and take a while to react and recover with us. But ultimately, once Brent comes into the play, and it means that every single instrument that we've analyzed with the predictions of where they would go have come to fruition. Now, a lot of people ask and go, but how does that work? How does that happen? How did you get to that point? And it's very, very simple, guys. We have data. We have 20, 30 years of data in terms of what's happened over past recessions. And it's really about investing that time to go into the markets and look at the data. Now, obviously, not everybody has 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day to look at that information. And that is the beauty of what Globex 360 Live TV brings to and for every single one of you, because we put in the hard work to impart and transition that information over to you so that you can be well equipped and skilled to take advantage of these massive opportunities that the rest of the world sees as a worry and we see as huge opportunity, as we're obviously seeing play out in the markets as a whole. Now, quickly having a look at crypto and whether crypto is going to follow the same suit as what we're seeing everywhere else. And we're really starting to see that potential move for Bitcoin is really starting to look good, right? As we start to see that Bitcoin is starting to edge and gain a little bit of that confidence, it looks like nothing on the charts at the moment. But again, should we continue to see that dollar weakness, this could be a massive, massive opportunity for cryptocurrency as a whole. Now, focusing on Bitcoin this morning, we're starting to see we're definitely getting, and no matter how gracious you are with this trend line from a resistance perspective, even if we put it at its absolute max, meaning we're absolutely putting this trend line on the wick of every candle to its max, we are seeing that we're right in that moment of potential breakout towards the top side. Now, that is what we're going to definitely be focusing and monitoring. And as this starts to evolve, we are going to place a much bigger emphasis on cryptocurrencies as a whole. We're going to start to look and include altcoins. We're going to start to look at emerging coin technologies, as well as how the infrastructure around blockchain is improving and where is that going as a whole. So we're going to start to really give Bitcoin, and I'd say crypto as a whole, a lot more emphasis on the shows moving forward, because we're moving closer and closer towards getting the ability to be able to trade cryptos over weekends. And that's specifically something that I am really looking forward to, because in the week it's great. Weekends we used to analyze, but I still want to trade over weekends. And I don't want to trade synthetics. I don't want to trade these synthetic VIX things and crash and booms that are ultimately artificial move and, essentially are linked to nothing. It's just guessing, where those things are. I want to trade something that's linked to an underlying asset like a crypto. So that is definitely the way we want to be. Now, quickly just having a look at the chat, I can see you guys are doing the most in the chat, and I can see a lot of activity, which is exactly what we like and exactly what we want to see. So just quickly giving a shout out to everybody in the chat that is doing their thing. And let's quickly have a look. Peter, I believe your credit is done. Please have a look on your side and confirm for us in the chat. If that is the case, you should have $250 credited towards your live account that you can use to do things on your side. Let's quickly have a look here. Okay. And then Duffy, let's quickly have a look here. What is happening? Duffy, really quickly. Okay, beautiful. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to, there we go, Peter Free saying he got his $250. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Amazing. Chippo saying, how much should I open an account with, guys? Chippo, it's really up to you. Ultimately, if you want to get started, we generally say $100 gives you enough room to basically trade everything, but really it's going to depend on your budget. It's going to depend on your financial position and what you have as disposable income. Again, remember guys, don't go and put money that you have on rents, money that you have to pay bills in the markets, specifically if you're still learning, because again, markets can be extremely risky and you want to obviously pay attention to risk management and evolve your trading journey as you move in that direction together. So let's quickly jump in and have a look at what is currently happening with our US30 trade this morning. So we can see that US30 is doing a nice, beautiful move, and we can see we've got a little bit of that momentum towards the top side, and you should already be in profits on these buy side momentum moves. But again, it's going to be up to you how you want to cover this from a risk perspective. And so what I'm going to do over here again is I'm just going to move one of my stop losses to a break-even situation, and then essentially just allow the other trade to run, right? Again, as we continue to push further and further towards the top side, we should be in around about 300 pips per position at the moment, and that will obviously continue to grow as this market moves and continues towards the north side. Now, again, today is going to be a massive day in the markets, and I think what we should really be paying attention to as we look at the balance of the day is how do markets absorb this data, right? Markets are coming back into normality, gold is coming back into normality, indices are coming back into normality, crypto as well as Brent and crude might follow very, very shortly. But again, how is this going to play out? Will markets absorb this positive data? Because ultimately the feeling and the sentiment I got yesterday is that markets are craving some sort of positive data to really reinforce. At the moment, we know things are bad. We can see it, we can hear it, you can feel it, right? You can see that things are not normal, but ultimately, how will markets translate and digest this data and transition that into the New York Stock Exchange Open? Because I think that is going to be absolutely massive. Beautiful. So we can see Raiz is saying US30 is going to drop a few pips before that push up. I don't think so. It's busy pushing really, really hard. Trailing stops are already engaged. We are around about 250, 300 pips already to the north side on that. So again, we could get a pullback, absolutely. But at the moment, she's already pushing quite nicely into profit towards that north side move. Now, again, we are still trading in fairly tumultuous times. We have a lot of geopolitical data busy happening in the world right now. But again, a chase towards the top side is still much more likely than a fall and break. And again, what we want to pay special attention to is the fact that we clear this 6-month low that is most visible, having a look at it on a daily time frame. So again, we're pushing into that 6-month low territory, but we want to see that momentum continue. And a pullback is definitely necessary. Again, we speak about, if we see a breakthrough of market structure, do we run and chase it? If you're early enough, you're more than welcome. But the reality is, once a break happens, we generally want to see a pullback and a successful retest of what once was resistance and now support. So yeah, Keegan, reality is on this particular one, what I'm going to be doing, and I can't tell you what to do with your money. Again, this is for educational purposes only and not financial advice. But what I will be doing with this trade is I will essentially be holding this US30 long, right? As we can see, US30 is pressing really nicely towards the top side. And essentially, I'm going to cover my trade by just moving stop loss into profit, right? And I'll do that on one of those trades, and I will move my stop loss just below entry on another one of those trades. So at the moment, I'm currently sitting absolutely risk-free on US30. No matter what the markets do, right, I can be in a position that I'm basically an investor. I'm just sitting by on the markets, and I'm literally just watching these markets push to the top side. So great profits, depending where you've entered on this one. You should be in the region of around about 400 pips in profit just on US30. But again, massive opportunities as we discussed yesterday. Gold is looking to really dominate and break out of this market move. I do expect gold also to go through some sort of pullback, but I would really like to also be active on gold from a buy perspective. Now, if I just tidy up these trend lines to get the absolute maximum of this market, then what we will see just from a resistance perspective, looking again, and this is currently gold, as I said a little bit earlier, just having a look at gold at the absolute max. For those of you who are really enjoying the commodity trading side of things, I would honestly say that would be the maximum from a support / resistance perspective. Let's go out one day, and I just want to bring that a little bit closer. So where we're currently at on gold is we're about to essentially go through that first resistance level, right? Again, I don't like buying into resistance. I prefer a breakout and retest kind of strategy. So ultimately on gold, we want to see that push through that $1,712 to an ounce, then some sort of retest. And it's very possible, right? Just from a market's perspective, just so you can just anticipate, it is very, very possible that gold could give us a formation, something like this, right? Something along those levels. So we could very well make a punch through temporarily and then a pullback to the 661.8, around about that 1,691 to an ounce of gold, and then ultimately that momentum and that push through. Because remember, markets are, as much as they're predictive, as much as markets are trying to, predict where things are going to go, markets do spend a lot of time obviously having a look at past events and past data. But once we get that markets essentially all settle and agree upon the same thing, that commodities are recovering, indices are recovering, FX is moving in a particular direction, then that's where we see that massive ripple effect. And we see numbers really come in to support and push that towards the top side. So I think that's definitely going to be something we're going to have to pay a lot of attention to and look forward to as we move into closer of the close of this day. So guys, in another amazing session we've had together, I believe you guys are sorted and you guys are credited. Let's quickly have so I believe both people are done, both people are sorted, both Peter Faree, and let's have a look here, as well as Gaddafi. So guys, massive welcome and congratulations for everybody that got another $500 handed out this morning, which is around about 8,000 or 9,000 Rand, depending on the exchange at any given point in time. Now remember, if you want to be a part of our Dollars for Lunch session, you need to have a live account funded with at least a minimum of about $100 in that particular account. And that is where we'll be emailing you the link to the live session. And that's where I'll be seeing every single one of you. This afternoon is going to be absolute fire, right? So if you've missed previous sessions, if you haven't been here the past 2 weeks, you're only starting and watching us right now for the very first time, you are right here in the perfect season to be with us and to be a trader. There's never been a better time. So if you haven't yet already, in the link down below, hit the link, get your account open, get it funded. We have an amazing support team on the back end. So any help, any things that you need, you can contact the team through the WhatsApp support link, as well as the Telegram bot that will connect up with you. If you need assistance with uploading documents, deposits, withdrawals, whatever, the team is there to assist and help you to get you along your trading journey. Guys, outside of that, it's been an amazing session this morning. I trust you've had fun. As always, go ahead and make sure you've liked and subscribed this live feed so you never miss a brand new upload. As always, and most importantly, remember to live and trade and do things the Globex 360 way. Until I see you guys a little bit later, goodbye.